Hey, how's it going? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is Chess with Investors. I'm joined today with Double Trouble. I got Jen Steward and her son Bruce Stewart. First, Jen, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. It is Friday, Dan, and as entrepreneurs, do we even get a weekend, as they said in Downton Abbey? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. What about you?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Still plenty to do. And we're joined with your son, Bruce, and we got a surprise for everybody in the audience. But first, Bruce, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. And the surprise for you, yes, you in the audience, is that I'm not going to be playing chess on this one. We're going to this is the battle of the children. Now, Bruce, I don't mean to have any slights against you or anything like that, but it's going to be my son against Bruce. That's what you're going to be seeing on the side of your screen here. So, Jen, can you introduce yourself a little bit for the audience?
Yeah, hello. My name is Jennifer Steward, and I specialize in both finding and funding deals. I started out as doing acquisitions as an acquisitions manager, and now I have a company with 180 virtual assistants in both the United States and the Philippines and a few other countries that specialize in acquisitions. And I also fund deals as well. I specialize in commercial lending, especially multifamily apartments and some warehouses as well. So that's what we love to do. We love to find and fund your deals. So whether it is single family or commercial, off market or on, we try to make sure that you have everything you need to achieve your acquisitions goals.
Excellent. And I see the game is already humming along here. I see that we're going basically symmetrical with an Italian setup here. Now, Jen, as far as your knowledge of Bruce's chess experience, you ended up having him on because you're not particularly a chess player yourself. What's the background right there?
Yeah, so I work really, really hard all the time. And so in my leisure time, I like to hike, as Bruce knows. I love to get outside. But while I work, the children have learned to amuse themselves. And I hope other moms can relate to this. I mean, I had my 5-month-old at the teat while I had my headset on making those acquisitions calls whenever I was starting. He's now almost 10. So my children were literally raised in and around and inundated in business from home. But, there's only so much they can do to participate. So while I'm working, they are so good at amusing themselves. And I think in that way, it's going to lend them to an entrepreneurial spirit because we don't just keep them racked with these activities and those activities and go all the time. I've really taught them to try to entertain themselves. I know they have the intellect to do it. And so Bruce took chess upon himself. I did not introduce it to him. I did buy him the fanciest board I could possibly buy him for Christmas one year. It's engraved and it has this lovely engraving and marble and all this stuff, just because I wanted to signify the time he's invested into this activity. And also my alma mater doesn't have a football team. That's how nerdy I am. It has a chess team. The University of Texas at Dallas has a chess team that we take pride in. And so if he is to follow in my footsteps to go to UTD, he will be ready to compete on the chess team here in 4 years as he is 14 years old.
I love it. And so now I get a little bit. I get my wires crossed a little bit between the Texas link and there's a Florida link for you as well, right? Have I got cross wires in my head?
I think you're thinking of California because that's where I like to go hiking the most. So you're correct on the coastal part. Florida's a little too crowded for my taste in most parts, where Northern California is about as remote as it gets. I mean, most of the counties, 2/3 of those counties don't even have cell phone service. And so we're talking very, very remote in a way that most people don't even conjure in their imagination whenever they think of the United States.
Mm-hmm. Right. And I remember since our last conversation, some background just so that everybody in the audience knows. You probably know that I'm from the internet. The way that you can find more of these episodes is on chesswithinvestors.com. But Jen was one of the first guests on the new series Poker with Investors. That was pretty wild, right? What were your thoughts of that show format?
It was fun. It was really fun, and the fact that they kind of make it easy to push the buttons, I was able to kind of figure out how to play a little bit as I went, dusting off that 20-year-old memory after I played once.
Right.
And so that was fun. I mean, I was winning at first. It was beginner's luck. And then just like life, skill always proves out over luck. Luck is not scalable, but skill sets are. And so invest in your skill sets.
I completely agree, and man, what a roller coaster going on over here in this chess match that I have on the other side. Like, I saw there was a royal fork there, but fortunately for Bruce, there was a bishop staring at the knight that was doing the fork. So he was able to get out of it. He was forking the king and the queen. But one of the subjects that came up during the poker with investors match was multitasking, and this is way easier. The fact that we can actually focus on the conversation instead of figuring out all the moves and all that kind of fun stuff.
People in processes we've outsourced to our children, which they don't know is our long-term goal anyways, right?
Right, exactly. Well, it's kind of funny. I have a nickname on chesswithinvestors.com for there's a little mini series that we do called Improve at Chess Reviews, where we go through these short games and just basically say each of the different moves. And so my little pet name for my son is cheat code, because I feel it's like, okay, if I can't actually succeed on my on my own, then I can rely on him, who's still got the same DNA. It's kind of funny here.
He's 50% you.
Right, exactly. So, but let's talk a little bit about how you got into real estate. That's a very valuable service that you have for finding the deals. Like, who has the time, as they say. You obviously have to make it a priority to find those deals. But how exactly did you get into real estate? Tell everybody a little bit about that, please.
I got lucky with a friend. I was at home, and this story, in case anyone is starting out, rent was going up. I was on the other side of the equation. Rent was going up $200, which was more than what we could afford. And it was either come up with another $200 or move in with my mother-in-law, who I love. But, I don't want to, I just had a brand new baby. And so I thought, what job could I do while still having a baby? I mean, one who can't even sit up hardly on their own. So I had a friend of mine named Heather, and I had made a public post about how I was going to go back and work in a bar just to make some money, right? Just something I could do part-time. And she said, no, Jen, don't you dare go work in a bar. As a mother, I've known you for 20 years, and no one is better at determining people's motivations intuitively than you. And she said, I need someone like you to talk to these sellers over the phone and determine motivation in these sellers. And I said, okay, how much does it pay? She said, $5 an hour.
That's rough.
My grandma said, Jenny, you just graduated college, which, by the way, I graduated college at 30. She said, why would you want to take a job for $5 an hour? I said, Mimi, give me 10 years. Well, it's been 9 years, and this month, without being braggadocious, between all of my businesses, the commercial lending, and the data and the skip tracing, I'm slated to make about $150,000 before taxes, okay? Before taxes, but after expenses. So from $5 an hour to 150 grand between all of the acquisitions and the lending, that is significant. So you have to see the potential in the skill set that you're acquiring and not how much you're being paid. So if you're just getting started out, you may want to offer a lot of value for a low price. But I did get the immediate value in that we got to stay in our crappy apartment and not move in with my mother-in-law, for that extra $200 a month or whatever.
Right.
So, I didn't know I was going to make it, Dan, I mean, I had no way of knowing. I busted a rear end. There's a reason why I don't play chess. There's a reason why my son, at least from what I'm gleaning here, seems to be decent at it. Because I spend a lot of time working. I mean, I've had to work so hard. I don't even know who my son's best friend is. You know what I mean? So, like, there's real sacrifice to going that far in 9 years. And I'm not ashamed to admit or discuss that.
Yeah, and being able to work from home, I think it's the best investment that any parent can have. Just
Yes.
having it where your children know it's like, mom's there, or in my case,
Mom's
dad
there.
is there.
I may
Right.
not know, what your hobbies are or who your best friend is, but I am here. I am sitting, in my work area. And I don't have an office where I sequester myself. I'm centralized in the house, as Bruce knows. So you have to walk, no matter what you do, you have to walk past me. So I
There's
see
no
the
escape
comings
from
and
mom.
goings. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
the comings and goings of the house. And we do exercise together, but you just don't talk a lot while you're exercising. So Bruce and I, we exercise together. We go on long trips, 3-4 months on the road, hiking trips. And so I mean, we do spend a lot of time together. We just don't get a lot of time to talk. So I'd like to make more time to do that now that I have found a modicum of success.
Right. Holy smokes! Yeah, the other thing that's really funny about this situation. Normally, I'm so distracted while the Chess with Investor interviews are going on, and one thing that's kind of refreshing right here is that I got a great excuse to be distracted because I'm watching this all go down. One thing I'm noticing big time, my son he likes to play bullet chess, and so he's not really using his time much at all here. It's pretty wild watching these matches here, but I do kind of want to involve Bruce in the conversation a little bit here, but Bruce, I'll keep it simple for you. How do you feel about multitasking, like you're forced to do right this second?
If I'm good at what I'm multitasking, then I like it. Well, I wouldn't say I like it, but I'm capable of multitasking if I'm experienced in what I'm multitasking. But if I'm not that experienced, then I don't perform well.
Yeah, it's yeah, right, yeah. That's really excellent. And your mom was saying more on that subject. Wow, this is a really icky game here, as far as all the things that are going on here. It's they're tying each other up really, really well. But there you go. So I'm not sure how many there's a lot of potential for this game to end quickly. So just before that happens, I want to make sure that everybody in the audience has a way to reach out to you, Jen. I know that we interact on Facebook more than other platforms. What are the best ways to reach out, Jen?
Yeah, so in terms of my Facebook address, if you want to connect with me there, which is basically, think about it, it's just an interactive, fun kind of drip campaign is really what all social media is. And it's just facebook.com/elite deal finder / or you can email me at jen@reidatasource.net. And like I said, we specialize in both finding and funding deals off market, whether it's commercial, single family, or on or off market even.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And I can't believe what a roller coaster this is, watching the two of you guys play here. I shouldn't be this much of an emotional wreck over it, but I sure am. It's really. This is lots of fun. So as far as chess in your future there, Jen, are you going to be getting Bruce to teach you one of these days when things calm down a little?
I think when my hair goes from black to gray, I might have time. For me, business is so challenging enough. The last thing I want to do when I'm off work is do more hard stuff. I want to lay in my Tempur-Pedic bed and do cover angels the same way people do snow angels. That or hike. So I'm going to leave that to Bruce. I mean, he's really the analytical guy. I'm the talker. You know, I'm the one who connects people and puts people in front of the right people, connects, figures out what people need. That's why I'm good at acquisitions, get the information I need in order to help them. Bruce is the heavily analytical guy. I mean, he can look at numbers. You know, he was 10 years old whenever he convinced me to go into business for myself, because I was closing one property a day as an acquisitions manager, wholesaling, right? Working for other wholesalers. And he said, Mom, about how much is every assignment fee? I said, 20,000. And he said, well, Mom, in 50 days, that's $1 million. Why don't you just go do it for yourself? He was 10 years old. I had never done the arithmetic. And there he is going, 20K a day? That's $1 million in 50 days, Mom. You know? And I mean, he's 10. Who does that at 10?
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's really excellent. So we just started the third match here. So I was messaging. Okay, cool. I think we got the contact information and all that kind of stuff. But so let's talk a little bit then about hikes, because I know that's your big thing. I know that as a kid I like to go on hikes. But I found that as an adult, my big thing I enjoy to do is explore inside a city. Just go down streets, just find out, hey, what's down here, and I find that it really helps your sense of direction. But I remember that Joe, he was asking you about your experience, basically Grand Canyon, specifically the slot canyons. I ended up Googling that and getting some AI generated. Yeah, it's pretty wild stuff. So let's talk a little bit more about the hiking then that you like to do.
Oh, yeah. So as Bruce knows, obviously my favorite is the redwood forest because it smells like a million Christmas trees. And it's just so stunningly beautiful in a way that pictures and videos literally cannot capture because it's so far outside of the scope of a frame. Just the tree trunk alone is going to be bigger than most camera frames. And so there's no way to know what it's like until you go and experience it yourself. And I'm not talking about the sequoias. I'm talking about the coastal redwoods. Like these scenes that you would imagine only happen once you meet the dear Lord in heaven. Like we're walking, as Bruce knows, on this one trail called Lady Bird Johnson. Because Lady Bird Johnson was there in the 70s or something like that to commemorate the site. And there's this fog that rolls in and this mist. And these deer that almost seem domesticated. They just walked right past us out of the fog. This family of deer and this baby deer stopped right past us, like, I don't know, maybe 5-10 feet away, and started eating this leaf, just staring at us. And it was the most peaceful, most beautiful thing. And it wasn't crowded there because we don't go in the summer. We like to go in the fall because, the kids are homeschooled. And if you want to experience and what it's like, at least for my idea of heaven, it would be on that Lady Bird Johnson trail on kind of a foggy day. And then just 15 minutes down the road is the beach with seals and just all this marine life. And it's just so stunningly beautiful that the only reason I can't live there is because the politics are horrible. You can't get insurance on any properties you want to purchase. And I'm not so solvent that I can just purchase properties, I don't know if I want to, where you just purchase these $1 million homes and not have insurance on them in the way the politics are out there. So we have to just go and visit. And also it's not as homeschool friendly out there. We feel like we're traveling from a different country coming from Texas because we have all these rights. We have the ability to carry our handguns and homeschool, and that's just not so much a thing out there. So we feel like we're expats whenever we're out there. We're Texas expats whenever we go to. But you guys expat in China right now, right? I mean, don't you guys live in China or something?
So I lived in Taiwan for 15 years, and I actually am going to go visit again for the first time in 6.5 years, something like that. I'm really excited about that opportunity to get out there again because I've definitely missed it, but I'm not sure how many more moves this match is going to be. This is another intense one for sure. So I think what I'm going to do then is I'm going to do my public service announcement before we continue, just in case anybody in the audience misses, which is if you've been watching this episode and experiencing searing pains in your eyeballs, maybe like migraine like symptoms, I'm confident it's because of the downright hideous subscribe button that's down there that you haven't hit yet, and you probably should, especially if you have like any Zoomers, Generation Alpha in the room, because they're very judgmental when it comes to people who don't subscribe. But honestly, I should confess the truth, which is that I want a lot of people to subscribe so that those deadbeats at YouTube start to pay for these videos instead of me. I think that'd be fantastic. That's basically my thing. And you want to be like Jen, who I'm sure is subscribed as well. But as far as the people in the audience, Jen, I'm not sure if you have any more parting words. Like my big thing about chess is getting some sort of activity for the kids without screen time. You know,
that's so true. And I'm the screen person. He is not. I don't have to make any rules with him, because he is just like vehemently opposed, almost self-radicalized in this way that I'm proud of. In terms of I think because he grew up with the whole world using screens, he's like, it just wasn't a thing. Whereas for me, born in 1984, it's like still this amazing thing to be able to connect with so many people. But I think his age, he's like, that's, he says he has friends that are just super addicted to TikTok, and he wants nothing to do with that. He sees no value, no ROI on that time investment. Yeah,
that's good stuff. And it's funny because I remember I actually played my first video games around 1984. So that's... It's like that's why I tell people I'm from the internet. I'm only part human. But Jen, Bruce, thank you so much for joining. This has been absolutely fantastic having you on here, and I can't wait for a rematch.
Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you for the fun. This has been great. Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. Thanks.
Does nothing but put more money in the pot.
Right.
If we talk about just the investor side, I mean, Shane talked about the sponsor side a little bit. I'll talk about the investor side. Okay, so you want the most money in terms of return with the least risk. All right, you want to do it yourself? You can go get 13 or 14%. You're going to do all the underwriting. It's not going to be passive.
If you bet, probably not.
I think I'd have to bet at least $2,500 before they fold.
And the pot is
4,000.
4,000. Yeah, I think you're right, but I'd rather just check.
Okay.
First position, you have the right of collection and the right of foreclosure or sheriff's sale, wherever you're at.